everybody, I'm back and I'm sorry for the 15-minute break. You know, the internet is great until it's not great. So I had some not great internet here, but we're going to pick up where we left off. This is Dr. Stephanie. I am your double board certified critical care physician who has a passion for working with physicians who are burnt out with their jobs, struggling with their careers, or who just want some career advice. Through my books, webinars, coaching, and speaking, I help physicians discover alternative jobs and careers in medicine so they can practice medicine on their own terms. I'm here at the lovely island of St. Croix. I've been here on a locums assignment for the past 8 days. Today is my last day, and this is a fitting time for me to share with you guys my book launch. For those of you who are on my prior, thank you for joining me. We're just going to be real quick and in a hurry because I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you to go to this website, bit.ly/Dr. Freeman, and get your limited edition special copy of my ebook in ebook format. Download it now so you can read it because I think it's very informative and it has a lot of good information. So just a quick recap. I wrote this book because I wanted to share with you some things that I learned the hard way that I was not taught during my years of medical school, residency, or fellowship. So, thank you, Dr. Daphne she says she got her book. That's my girl. I do appreciate it. So, briefly, like I said, I wrote this book because I had some very difficult work interactions, some very difficult job situations, and I wanted to spare you guys the pain and suffering of going through what I went through, or just to let you know that if you're going through something similar, that you can come out on the other side. And then for my younger doctors who are just starting their career, I wanted to give you some words of advice and encouragement just to let you know things to look out for. So my book is entitled Real World Medicine, which your attendee didn't tell you and your professors didn't know. First chapter of this book talks about how physicians are technicians, because medicine is an art, it's a science, it's a profession, but medicine is also a business. And businesses are run by business people. So physicians put patients first, businesses put profits first, and patients and doctors end up losing out. And unfortunately, because the people who run the businesses and answer to the shareholders and answer to their board and look at the bottom line, they look at us as technicians and they make decisions based on what's good for the organization as a whole and not necessarily what's good for you as a physician. So just realize that physicians are technicians. The next thing is you need to realize, and this is what we talk about in chapter 2, is your employer is not your friend. Let's get that straight right now. They may woo you, they may wine you and dine you, tell you anything to get you to sign on the dotted line. But once that 90 days has crossed and you're outside of your probationary period and people stop being nice to you, their real colors come out real quick and in a hurry. And if for whatever reason they decide that they don't like you anymore, or hi Dr. Sabrina, thank you so much. For whatever reason things change in the organization, if they're having financial problems, they'll change on you real quick and they will let you know that their needs as employers supersede your need as an employee. So chapter 2, your employer is not your friend. In the third chapter, we talk about how hospital politics can kill. That is, they can kill your career. And it is very imperative as a physician to know who the major players are in the hospital and to know what the chain of command is. Know who the unit supervisor is. Know who the CMO, the CNO, the CEO, the CFO, and the COO of all the organizations that you are a member of, that you participate in, not just in your employment organization, but in all of the hospitals and offices and ambulatory centers that you work in. There's a lot of people that you need to know, but it's very important. And you also need to know who the untouchables are in your organization. There are people in your organizations who are essentially untouchable, and you kind of need to know Yes, this internet signal is iffy, so I'm going to hurry up and be real quick. In chapter 4, we talk about how nurses rule the world, the hospital world that is, and we discuss ways to make sure that you have a really good professional working relationship with the nursing staff as well as the other medical staff and ancillary staff in the hospital. In chapter 5, we talk about how Big Brother is watching you, how as physicians we are watched for everything we do. We are being credentialed for everything that we do. We are being monitored, measured. And so we discuss some of the things that hospitals and insurance companies and just the general public in and of itself are watching you and expecting you to do. So you have to be very cognizant of these types of things as a physician. Also, chapter 6, we talk about social media. The world is watching and they know where you work. So therefore, it is very important. Hi, Yolanda. How are you? Thanks for joining. I'm having technical difficulties here. I'm here in St. Croix and the wireless connection has been kind of iffy and spotty. So I'm going to be really quick about this, but it's important as physicians we know how to utilize social media appropriately. Now, I know some physicians who avoid it altogether. However, I wouldn't recommend that because the world is on the internet. The world is on social media. It's how we engage in our communities. It's how we engage with our patients. It's how we engage with other physicians. However, it is important that as a physician that you realize that you are not in violation of any laws, HIPAA and high tech. It is also important that you realize that what you put out on social media can impact your professional and your personal reputation. So it is important to know that. And we talk about that in detail in chapter 6. And so like I said, this book was just written, it's a quick book, it's an easy, short book, it's an easy read, but it's written for physicians just to let you know some of the things and the challenges that I've run up against, and that I hope that my younger physicians, if you haven't experienced these things, that you won't experience them because you'll have some knowledge about what to look out for and how to overcome this. So like I said, please be sure to go to the website bit.ly/Dr. Freeman to purchase your copy of The Real World Medicine, what your attending didn't tell you and your professor didn't know. I hope that, and I know that that book is going to give you a lot of information and a lot of advice to really help you to succeed in medicine. But so now that I've written this book and I've shared this information with you guys, and so a lot of you guys are wondering what's next. So what's next? So you're having some concerns about your career, your job, or you just want some career advice. A lot of you guys know that I do locums because I found that that was a great way for me to just regain control of my career and regain control of my life. So I would like to offer all of my doctor friends the opportunity to join my Locums Life 5-Day Challenge. And you can sign up for that at www.locumslifechallenge.com. And this challenge is designed to help jumpstart your locums career. And by doing this, I will help you gain clarity. Hi, Dr. Alicia. How are you? Thank you for joining. I was just talking about my book, Real World Medicine, what your attending didn't tell you and your professor didn't know. And in this book, we discuss some things we've learned the hard way. And I'm going to share a little something with you guys about Dr. Alicia. That's my girl. We both went through the trenches at a particular hospital in Kentucky, and she was working there, and I joined the medical staff. And when she first met me, I was like, I haven't really gotten all my stuff unpacked yet. And then she says to me, girl, don't unpack all your stuff. So not 6 weeks later, I called her back and said, Alicia, when you told me not to unpack all of my stuff, you were absolutely right. So that was one of these places that was a challenging job for me and for her, and we learned a lot. We learned a lot of things the hard way, and that's one of the things I talk about in this book. I talk about the importance of, even employer contracts. And one of the things that I found out at that particular hospital is that if you leave the hospital prior to your contract being over, they will ask for you to repay your signing bonus and things of that nature. But these are things that, we weren't taught about in medical school. We weren't taught about, contracts. We weren't taught about contract negotiations. We weren't taught about, how to find a job, much less how to leave a job. So these are things that I learned the hard way. And these are some of the things that I talk about in my book. I talk about, your employer is not your friend. This was a situation in which they recruited me heavily. They were starting a new program, but then when the hospital took a downturn and the economics took a downturn and the politics of the hospital changed, then things changed really quickly, and I had to kind of get out of a bad situation. And unfortunately, I went from a bad situation to a worse situation. But those are some of the things that I talk about in the book. I talk about how we are treated as technicians, as physicians. I talk about that in chapter 1. People make decisions about healthcare and how healthcare is delivered without asking the doctors. Talk about how your employer is not your friend. Talk about hospital politics. Talk about how to get along with the nursing staff. Talk about how everybody is watching you. And we also go on to make things more relevant in the book and talk about, social media, being a doctor in the age of social media. So please be sure to go to bit.ly Dr. Freeman to purchase your copy of your ebook just for $2.99. It's the Kindle edition. Download the Kindle app to your phone. And then after you do that, then the next thing I want you to do is sign up for my Locums Life 5-day challenge and go to www.locumschallenge.com, because in that I sit up here and talk about how you can use locums work as a way to regain control of your life and regain control of your career. And even for those of you who aren't thinking about doing locums, this challenge is an excellent opportunity for you to gain clarity and focus about where you want to be in your life, where you want to be in your career. And for those of you who are even looking for permanent jobs, this challenge is designed to help jumpstart you in terms of getting clarity and getting a plan for your next job and your next career move. So go to www.locumslifechallenge.com to sign up for my 5-day challenge. And I want you to do this after you download my book, Real World Medicine, What Your Attending Didn't Tell You and Your Professor Did Not Know. In my challenge, you are going to learn how to jumpstart your locums career. You're going to learn how to jumpstart any career, because I'm going to tell you how you can regain control of your life. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to get clarity and get focused, because you can have anything in life that you want, but you got to figure out what it is you want. So I'm going to help you figure out what you want. And then once we figure out what we want in our Locums Life 5-day challenge, I'm going to help you develop plan. So the thing is, we're going to develop a plan in terms of how you can gain your optimal locums assignments or your optimal job. We're going to develop a strategy and a blueprint. We're going to learn the importance of contract negotiation. You're not going to just accept the first thing the recruiter says you, or the first contract that's offered to you. We're going to learn how to negotiate top market rates, because I'm all about practicing medicine on your terms. And then we're going to also learn how to, for those of you who are going to do locums, we are also going to learn about which best business entity to choose for your locums practice, so that you can maximize your tax strategy and everything. Hey, Dr. Valerie, Ms. Nurse Valerie, how are you? Valerie and I worked at a hospital in Houston, and she's one of my favorite nurses. I'm so glad you joined me. Can I help NPs? Absolutely. Download my book. Real World Medicine, What Your Attendings Didn't Tell You and Your Professors Didn't Know. And Dr. Valerie, also download my locums ebook, because nurse practitioners, there's a huge market for nurse practitioners to do locums work as well. And so you need to know that information as well too. So download my locums ebook, and I think the website is bit.ly Dr. Stephanie locums ebook. If I don't have that, Valerie, I'll send you a message with that link, because I can help you as well too, because some of these things that we're talking about in terms of physicians, hi Corey Ray, how are you? Some of the things that we're talking about in terms of physicians practicing medicine, you guys, that affects you guys too. So be sure to go to bit.ly/Dr. Freeman. Download your copy of Real World Medicine, What Your Attending Didn't Tell You and Your Professor Didn't Know. And like I said, I am kind of talking fast, because like I said, I am in St. Croix on a locums assignment, and I've been having some real technical challenges today with this internet connection, but I'm grateful that we're up and running, and I'm really grateful that you all have actually joined me. Corey Ray says he's going to get his copy. Thank you so much. Valerie says she's proud of me. I'm proud of you too, Valerie. I hope we get a chance to work together soon. I really haven't been working in any hospitals in Houston, and I'm sure you can understand. I'm sure you can understand why. Hi, Sharice. How are you? I went to high school with Sharice. Central High School in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Please go and download your copy of my ebook, Real World Medicine, What Your Attending Didn't Tell You and Your Professors Didn't Know. This is just a book written for physicians, and it's a book of lessons that I learned the hard way about practicing medicine and stuff that I was not taught through medical school residency or fellowship. Unfortunately, we're taught everything else. We take thousands of hours of call, learn how to do procedures, learn how to take care of patients. We learn how to take a medical article out of a medical journal, a scientific article, and read that thing and dissect it and really get to the heart of the matter. But nobody talks to us about the finances of the hospital, how hospitals really work. They don't talk to us about how medical contracts, physician employment contracts work to the benefit of the organization and not to the physician. People teach us how to advocate for everybody else, but not to advocate for ourselves. And so, as a result of this, we're released into the world with a great opportunity, with a great foundation to practice evidence-based medicine, but none of the other stuff, the politics, the legal issues, the financial issues, even the social issues that come with being a physician, none of that is taught. And those are the things that can derail your career. I know I've personally been involved in some really bad employment situations, and if it were not for the grace of God and some good ass attorneys, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping other physicians and other people to realize that, you have to look out for yourself. Your employer is not your friend. Your job contract is not written to protect you, it's written to protect them. But most importantly, I want people to know that you're not stuck. You're not stuck in a bad job situation. You can have life-work balance. There is no need for you or anybody else to ever feel like you just got to keep working at this job, and that every day you go there that your soul is dying. You ever walk into these jobs and you're like, okay, I wonder what's going to pop off today. When is the next shoe going to fall? Who's got another complaint about Dr. Freeman, about whatever? Which doctor is going to come to the unit and just act a fool? Who is going to just show out today? We all go into these jobs and it's like, this is ridiculous. But I'm here to tell you that it does not have to be that way. And so that's why I wrote this book. So please go and download this book, because I know it's going to have some good information for everybody about real work, real life, working in the real world that we are not taught about in school, in training. So that's why I wrote this book. And then, hey, Dr. D, how are you? Then after you get this book, I want you guys to show up for my challenge. Corey Ray says, is there anything we can do to help promote your book and spread this knowledge? Absolutely. Copy this bit link and post it on your page. Absolutely, that's how, because this is for, really I wrote it for doctors, but anybody can benefit for this. It is about what life is like for us in the real world, and it's a good practical. Hi, Dr. Diana, thank you for joining me. It's some good practical information about what life is like, and things that we aren't taught in medical school residency or doing our fellowship. So please go to bit.ly/Dr. Freeman. That will take you to the link on Amazon, and you will be able to download your copy of this book for $2.99. It is the Kindle edition of this book, and you can download the Kindle app to your smartphone. Hi, Dr. CGD Eccles. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about my book, Real World Medicine, What Your Attending Didn't Tell You and Your Professors Didn't Know. I appreciate you all's support. I've been having some real technical challenges here. It's been great on the island, but the internet is great until it's not. So the internet has not let me be great today. So I appreciate you guys hanging in with me. I do appreciate all of you all's support. And like I said, so we're going to take a couple of more minutes and just ask you guys, to talk about, post in the comment section, what are some of the things you learned the hard way at work that you wish that somebody would have sat you down before you became an adult and entered the real world and started paying your own bills and said, look, this is what life is going to be about. I know for me, that one of the hardest things that I've had to come to terms with is how quickly people decide that they don't like you. You know, how you're great one minute when they really need you, and then when they don't need you anymore, they're done with you. And that's just amazing to me. And I see that a lot as a locums doctor, but I'm used to it because, you know, as a locums doctor, I am here to, you know, help people, help organizations when they're short staffed. But it was really kind of painful when I was in an employed situation and they recruited you, you know, they wined and dined you, they threw these signing bonuses at you, and you relocated, you tried to sell your house, you moved across 5 states, and you get to work there, and then everything changes. The political situation changes because one of the other groups decide that they don't like the presence of hospital employed intensivists. Or Valerie Williams says, I feel like I have to tone down my greatness. Honey, I know you, and you are fabulous. All of that fabulosity that you have going on there, girl. So I feel you, because you are all of that, Nurse Valerie. That's my girl. We worked together at one of the hospitals in Houston, and she had my back, so I do love her. But, you know, these employers need you until they don't, or they need you until they think that you're not in the budget anymore. And then they make things kind of painful for you. And for so long I was thinking, you know, is it me? Is there something wrong with me? And then, you know, I lived a little, went to a couple of hospitals, and, you know, kind of went through this whole cycle a couple of times. And then I was like, no, it's not me. This is a cycle. You know, this is part of the corporate culture. There's something else going on behind the scenes. You know, somebody else is pulling the strings and making decisions and saying, yeah, I don't, you know if we can afford this intensivist program, or the other doctors don't really like the presence of these intensivists being here. And so we've got to figure out kind of what we're doing here. And so once I kind of figured out what the corporate culture was like, and I do say corporate because hospitals are businesses, hospitals are corporations, and corporations have cultures, and you have to figure out whether or not you fit into that corporate culture or not, because if you don't fit into that culture, there's going to be an issue. And so those are some of the things I talk about in my book. So let's see if I can scroll through some of these other comments here. I've been, like I said, if I can get this thing to work. But yeah, so there's a lot of things that we've all have learned when we start working in the real world that nobody really told us and nobody really prepared us for. And it is those things that we weren't taught that have the greatest impact on life, to us, the greatest shock, the things that are a shock to our system. Because like I said, we physicians, you know, our first year in medical school, our first month in medical school, we have our white coat ceremony, our family and friends come, they're so proud of us. Thanks, Dr. D. Congrats, Steph, you've been a blessing. You're a blessing too. You know, and we take the Hippocratic Oath, and we promise to do no harm. And so we're promising not to do any harm, and we're promising to put patients first, and we're promising to really put medicine first, if you want to be honest with it, you know, with everything. But then we start working for corporations and businesses and practices that don't have the patient first philosophy, because they're businesses and they have the profit first philosophy. And that is a shock to your system if you are not aware of that. And, you know, it's amazing to me the disconnect sometimes between management and the physicians. You know, I was like, I had a CEO of one of my hospitals told me that I knew it was a 26-bed ICU, and if I couldn't stand the heat, to get out of the kitchen. This man looked me in my face and told me that there is no way that I, as a critical care physician who makes life and death decisions every single day, he told me that there is no way that I'm under more stress than he is. He sits in meetings all day. If he makes a bad decision, who cares? The board may be mad with him. If I am not at my A game every single day, people die, because I'm a critical care doctor and it's what I do. So for my CEO to tell me that my job is less stressful than his, that let me know right then and there that they have, you know, management has no clue what we do on a day-to-day basis. They just really don't. So you have people who don't understand what you do, have people don't understand what life is like as a physician. They don't understand Oh, girl, you took the words right out of my mouth, Dr. Alicia. You have people who don't even understand what we do. They don't understand what your workflow is like every single day. And these are the people that are making decisions about how care is delivered. And then even worse than this, these are the people who are making decisions about your livelihood. They decide that they don't like you because one day you had a bad day, and one day, you're in the intensive care unit and you had 3 codes going on at the same time, and you got a full unit, and you got people calling you from the ER to admit patients, and you got a code on the floor that you have to go to, and you have to hold it together every single time. And I would talk about in the book, if people are watching you every time, everything you do, you're being watched and you're being scrutinized and you're being measured and you're being critiqued, and they don't understand what life is like. And so just the fact that there's a disconnect between what people think we do and what we actually do, and what people are telling us we ought to do, and what the reality of the situation is. And those are the things that we talk about in the book. We talk about organizational culture in this book, and how we have to start realizing what the culture is in these organizations so that we can see whether or not we actually fit in. Because if you don't fit in, you're never going to fit in, because that culture is not going to change. So like I said, guys, please go and download your copy of this book, bit.ly Dr. Freeman, for my physicians, and I got a couple of nurse practitioners on here too. Join my Locums Life 5-day challenge. Go to www.locums, let me see what this is, locumslifechallenge.com to sign up for the 5-day challenge. And like I said, Nurse Valerie, I am going to give you the link to my Locums ebook as well, because I do believe it has some great information in there for you as a nurse practitioner. But guys, we are going to wrap up. I'm going to get off this Wi-Fi before it kicks me off again. I do really appreciate your support, your comments, the conversation. Once again, go to bit.ly/Dr. Freeman, purchase this book, and we can continue the conversation in the comments section. Dr. Valerie said she will download it tonight. Excellent. We will continue the conversation in the comment section, so that we can all continue to learn from each other. But I do appreciate you being here today, and I will see you guys on the flip side shortly. Bye-bye.